And then the world was watching. And then she come here with her stupidity here, or he. That's me laughing at her. All right, so let's go back. Let me put this as my thing here so I could get. So Harry is doing his best to make the UK look good. All right, despite the fact that the UK is going through some stuff. All right, they're trying to find their way right now. Next tweet. Now I'm going back to my list. There's this here. The best speech by Prince Harry on Mandela Day is captivating and motivating for Africans. All right, so I don't know who's this, but I saw it. A quantity surveyor from the University of Nairobi, a leader and a hardworking Kenyan. Okay, I don't know who is it, but I thought that was very nice. Okay, the best speech by Prince Harry on Mandela Day. It's captivating and motivating. Let's listen with 8 minutes and 40. Maybe this might be the last for this video, and then I'll create another video. Because if I'm pretty sure I'm gonna comment on them. All right.
Worse still, this comes at a time when the Horn of Africa is enduring the longest drought it's faced in close to half a century.
And this is why they gave him that spot to come and speak, to shed light to some of the issues that's going on in Africa. And it's not like he's just saying it. Okay, if you look at some of my videos since I've been following him, some of the OKAVANGO River, I think I pronounced it wrong, you know, the video that I did before he did his speech, the day before, I highlight some of this stuff that he's been doing. He's not just saying it. He's actually doing the work.
And what is happening in Africa is not an isolated event. The drought there is a reflection of extreme weather we are seeing across the globe. As we sit here today, our world is on fire.
Literally.
Again.
The next day.
A lot of people sending videos onto social media from the A2 in Dartford. Well, that's a picture you really don't want to see. That is somebody's. Well, it's residential buildings by the looks of it, completely destroyed. That's something you really don't want to see today. It just shows how dangerous these conditions are today, not to be taken lightly.
And these historic weather events are no longer historic. More and more, they are part of our daily lives. And this crisis will...
That's the thing that I said. Human beings are the smartest and we are the dumbest. We know what's causing some of this stuff, but some very few who capture, who hijack, okay, every position of our social, where should be guided and protect our social contract, okay? They hijack those positions and then they're doing unethical things and to turn a blind eye for their friends to ruin that social contract, okay? So Harry knows what he's talking about.
Will only grow worse unless our leaders lead.
That's it.
Unless the countries represented by the seats in this hallowed hall make the decisions, the daring, transformative decisions that our world needs to save humanity. These decisions may not fit with the agendas of every political party.
That's the thing, because I've been individually, each one of us have something that we cherish, where whatever I cherish may not be the same for you. So this is where that social contract needs to be protected. So at least, even though you don't like everything, but you're not gonna get everything, but at least you get something. But some people wants to take it all. That's the problem again. Wants to take it all and forget about that social contract and leave some behind. And it makes the world imbalanced. Okay? So there's that seesaw again. When things are not balanced, when you see the ball at the peak, even though they at the peak, at some point it's gonna crash down. It's gonna roll down because it's in balance.
They may invite resistance from powerful interests,
There it is.
but the right thing to do is not up for debate. And neither is the science. The only question is whether we will be brave enough and wise enough to do what is necessary.
That's right.
So yes, this is a pivotal moment. A moment where multiple converging crises have given way to an endless string of injustices. A moment where ordinary people around the world are experiencing extraordinary pain.
Pain. Human beings should not be experiencing pain. The body does not, is not designed to do that. When it does, it makes everything imbalanced. The body's in shock. It needs to get you well. It's working extra to make it a whole. Okay, where everything should work as one. So it's the same thing.
And in this moment, we have a choice to make. We can grow apathetic, succumb to anger, or yield to despair, surrendering to the gravity of what we're up against. Or we can do what Mandela did, every single day inside that 7 by 9 foot prison cell on Robben Island, day outside of it too. We can find meaning and purpose in the struggle. We can wear our principles as armor.
It's your character that matters most.
Heed the advice Mandela once gave his son to never give up the battle even in the darkest hour.
This is the core value here, where he said as armor.
We can wear our principles as armor. And in this moment, we have a choice to make. We can grow apathetic, succumb to anger, or yield to despair, surrendering to the gravity of what we're up against. Or we can do what Mandela did, every single day inside that 7 by 9 foot prison cell on Robben Island, and every day outside of it too. We can find meaning and purpose in the struggle.
That's right.
We can wear our principles as armor.
This is very powerful. We could wear our principle as an armor. This is where he said, it's your character. This kind of thing. This is very powerful.
It's your character that matters most.
We can find meaning and purpose in the struggle. We can wear our principles as armor.
Yep.
Heed the advice Mandela once gave his son to never give up the battle even in the darkest hour, and find hope where we have the courage to seek it. Since I first visited Africa at 13 years old, I've always found hope on the continent. In fact,
There is where he's putting his experience, his humility, you know, making the speech a little bit personal. That, I think, he's getting it from Meghan. This, he's getting it from Meghan. Okay?
for most of my life, it has been my lifeline. A place where I've found peace and healing time and time again.
Okay, put a personal touch into the speech, because Meghan is good at that. When you look at when she was doing the cookbook, the speech, when, you know, at the palace, wherever they were doing the unveiling of the book, and they had a cookout, Miss Dovia came, you know, she put a personal touch into the speech. This is what I'm getting here. Something sentimental, something he experienced, all of that. So he added his personal touch, his experience into the speech.
It's where I felt closest to my mother and sought solace after she died, and where I knew I had found a soulmate in my wife.
This part, I took it, I made it into a video to let the haters know Meghan is Harry's soulmate. I made it into a video. Can you imagine that? I think the video turned into what, 4 minutes? A 5-second word turned into a 5-minute video, if not more.
And it's where so much of my work is why my work is based there.
Okay, so
Because
this is where I was saying he sort of wanted to make Africa, some part of Africa, to be his headquarters, but due to instability in the whole continent, saying that it's mind-boggling. The whole continent is unstable. All right, there might be some little, you know, okay here and there, but very easily unstable. All right, so it will be very hard for him to make his headquarters there with his family. It will be very dangerous for him. Yeah, when you have children, young children, when you're running. Let me not go there, but let's listen.
Despite continued hardship, there are people across Africa who embody Mandela's spirit and ideals, building on the progress he helped make possible. I see it in the communities fighting to save the OKAVANGO Delta, defying the odds to protect their home and its biodiversity from big oil companies.
And that big oil company is from Canada. Okay, I did my research when I was doing that video on that. When he first came out to shed light on it, I look into the company and all of that. I don't know why when I get into these things, I want to get a little bit more detail. Yeah, it's from Canada. All right, so I know about that part. And also him, those things that he's saying is to experience. He knows what he's talking about. It's not somebody who wrote his speech for him and go read it to the UN. These are things he's been talking about since, God knows how long. Okay, so now he's like summing it up here into the UN, so for the world to know. Whoever was not paying attention should know about it. And this is why they told him to come and give him that opportunity to shed light to these things.
I see it in the young girls who are forced out of school and into marriage in northern Nigeria. Speaking out.
There's his feminism side is talking here, speaking for those young women in Nigeria who don't have the voice. There he is. He's aware of it, so he's bringing light to it. Let the world know. And that was one of the speaker. I think he was a doctor. They did this, whatever they do to young girls. It's very heartbreaking where those twins die bleeding and all of that. We have a lot of feminism guys who are feminism who's talking about things for women. All right, feminism is not just women who's talking about it. There are men who are feminism because they have daughters as well. All right, so he's speaking for these young ladies who don't have the voice, and for future, he has a daughter. You never know, because people who empower wants to clench onto power and turn back the time. So he's shedding light, not just for those young girls in Africa, for people around the world. Right? Because this is unjust. Just because you're in position of power, that doesn't mean to inflict your personal views directly to people. All right, so that's that.
Out today so others may get a fuller chance to thrive tomorrow.
Okay, so he's giving
I see it in the young entrepreneurs I met in Johannesburg, using their energy and creativity to launch businesses that serve their communities.
There's some YouTube videos that I come across. I saw it a while back. A young entrepreneur who used recycle stuff to make, is it brick or something to put on the floor, on the ground? I may have shared it with you a while back. But it's very amazing to see this kind of things happening where they're using their mind and their ingenuity to further not only themselves, the career, but creating job for others. And that young lady who came up with that idea of what I'm talking about, using recycled stuff, the mom was so proud of her and stuff like that. It's a big business. Do what you can with what you have. Okay, this kind of thing. You know.
I see it in World Central Kitchen, a partner of the Archwell Foundation, and their volunteers in Ukraine and around the world, fighting food insecurity one meal at a time.
There he is. He's giving shout out. Let people know the world about World Central Kitchen, and he's letting them know. Let people know they are partners. We know about it. Anybody who's been watching my videos or who are the Sussex, they know I share those kind of things. I was looking for a video where I talk about Centre Bali. I can't find any of my videos, but I know occasionally I talk about Centre Bali. So I need to create a video about that so I could have thumbnails for when I need to talk about when I'm sharing ideas or something like that. All right, so there.
I see it in the vulnerable children of Lesotho and Botswana, orphaned by HIV, striving for a better future, which we support through our organization, Centre Bali. I see it in the newest generation of activists for equality and justice, who are mobilizing people of all ages and races, all faiths and walks of life, to lace up their shoes and join the march. And I see it in the parents I meet around the world. As determined as Mandela was to give their children a better shot at a brighter future, to prioritize their own and their children's mental health and well-being, to reject old ideas and past prejudices.
Oh, that's a shade. That's a shade right there. That's a shade. He's moved on. I've read comments where he's this, he's that, but he's apologized. He know what he did is wrong. He's moving on. So now he's telling the world, we need to change that. That mentality that you guys have taught me as a young boy. This is the way the world is. It's not. I've seen those people you have put down. Okay? I've seen them. When I go to their continent, their countries, they welcome me. They're not that savage, barbaric type of people you tell me that they are. But the old mind is changed. He's learned. He's learned.
To heal from the past and build resilience for the present and future.
Yep, he said that already. And he's repeating it again. Whether you accept it or not, for those who still wants to clench his old behavior, he's changed. He's moved on. He's apologized many times. And there he is in the sun, at the heart of the world. Every eyes are looking at him. Every eye is looking at him. He's telling them, change. You need to change the same way that I've changed.
Because they know the price of inaction will be paid by the next generation.
Yep.
In their strength and in their deeds, Mandela's legacy shines as brightly as ever. They are my lifebelt. I hope they can be yours too.
Yep.
Because right now, the water is rising all around us.
He's learned.
In some places, quite literally. So it's more important than ever that we seek a purpose greater than ourselves and get to work.
Yep.
After all, Mandela was not only a man of conscience, he was a man of action.
Yep.
He organized millions, inspired billions, joined hands not only with those who loved him, but those who had once jailed him, to build a better future for all.
That's very powerful. Hold hands even with those who had jailed him. Took 27 years of his life.
What Mandela understood was that true legacy transcends one's own needs and the passage of time. It defies the moment. Its relevance never ceases. Legacy does not belong to the self. It belongs to those it impacts.
That's the thing. Like I said, what Mandela had said in the Oprah interview, I've shared that. I have shared that. Okay? There's Harry saying almost the same thing, but in his own way, his own words.
Well, that is one of the things that worried me, to be raised to the position of a semi-god. Because then you are no longer a human being.
Right.
I wanted to be known as Mandela, a man with weaknesses, some of which are fundamental. That worried me a great deal, especially because I knew it was not the contribution of an individual which would bring about liberation and the peaceful transformation of the country. And my first task when I came out was to destroy that myth that I was something other than an ordinary human being. Whatever position I occupied, it was as the result of my colleagues, my comrades in the movement.
That doesn't mean he was perfect. No,
Human
he was
being.
something better.
Yep, human being.
He was human.
That's right.
As he wrote in his autobiography, I have made missteps along the way, but I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. I have taken a moment here to rest, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me.
That's the thing. After you do your hard work, sometimes you need to pause and enjoy your hard work, where you have become. Okay, so this is the thing that I sort of get when he said that. Okay, he stood on top of the hill looking back, all the hard work he's done. Take a moment, reflect on it, and move forward and continue. It's not about work, 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 work. Yes, we need to work, but sometimes we need to rejuvenate, refresh, recharge. Enjoyed all those moments. You getting up in the morning to go to work, rushing out of there to be on time. All of this, at some point of time, you need to stop. Take a few moments for yourself, relax, enjoy it, put your feet up, and then enjoy the moment, the hard work that you've done to give you the opportunity to sit down and enjoy it. Because money is going to come and go. All right? Money is not everything, but you work for it, enjoy it for a moment, and then go back and do the same thing over again, because life goes on. You still need to have roof over your head and mouth to feed, either yourself and some others, your children and stuff like that. So that's that.
To look back on the distance I have come. But I can rest only for a moment.
That's right.
For with freedom comes responsibilities. And I dare not linger, for my long walk is not yet ended.
Yeah, because human being, each one of us have different ideas, perspective, and what we want to do. And other human being wants to take your freedom away so they could be able to sit down and put their feet up. Okay, so this is why we all need to keep on be vigilant, not to let that happen. It's okay for people to enjoy themselves, but it's when they cross the line, to impose their own views onto you to prevent you from putting your feet up and enjoy life for a moment. That's when you have to be very careful. This is why you have to be vigilant. So when people cross the line, that social contract, okay, this is why we need to keep on moving, keep on working, be vigilant, this kind of thing. Okay, the social contract is what we need to protect. All right, so that person could put his feet up and enjoy life, and you could be able to sit up and put your feet up. Okay, so just imagine there's a line, a boundary. Your opponent is across you. Both of you are putting your feet up. Okay, think about it. Both of your feet touching each other while you're just laying back and enjoy. Okay, once you get up off that seat, okay, both of you gonna work toward your own perspective, your own ideal way of things. So when you come back again, that social contract is balanced. It's balanced. He gets what he wants, you get what you want. It's when the line is crossed. When the line is crossed, that's where the problem is. Okay, so that's the image that I saw. I probably don't explain it well, but that's what I get.
It has been almost a decade now since Mandela's own walk on this earth finally reached its end.
That's the image right there. That's the image right there. I couldn't get a brighter picture of it, but this is the image of it. Him standing right there, center. Every eyes is on him. This is the picture here. This is what his family was preventing for him to be where he's at right now. But let's continue. Oh my God.
But what he taught us again and again is that it was never his walk alone. It was all of ours. It is all of ours.
The movement.
And what a beautiful gift, especially as a dad of 2 young children myself. The message that this world is meant to be shared.
That's right. There it is again. It meant to be shared. It's not for just one or one group or one race. It's supposed to be shared. God put everyone there to do something. We have a piece of the puzzle. We're supposed to share it and plug our idea, our mind, whatever skill set that we have to make things work. But some group wants to take it all, and they are the most dumbest one who tend to think they know everything, and they ruin it for everybody. But let's continue.
The work of each generation is tied to those who came before and those who will come after us.
That's right. And I spoke about that, where I've said I think my mom generation didn't do much. They were too relaxed. They let their guard down. And this is why now my generation and my kids' generation have to fight, because they let their guards down. My great-grandmother's generation were fighting. Even those that were enslaved, they were fighting. I mean, sometimes we need to think, okay, for bringing the word slavery here. When you think about it, African American did not raise one weapon to create wars. How come they were freed? I mean, other things have happened, okay, other fights have happened, but the period where to abolish the slavery, when you think about it, how did they do it? Okay, how? Without raising one firearm. But okay, that's a chain of thought. Let's continue.
That we have an obligation to give as much, if not more, than we take. And never shudder in the face of darkness. For hope is the fuel that courage requires.
Yep.
So on this Nelson Mandela International Day, as a new generation comes of age, a generation that did not witness Mandela's leadership for themselves, let's commit to remembering and celebrating his life and legacy every day.
This is where witnesses, okay? The witnesses, the movement, through each witnesses create their own perspective of Mandela, and this is how our kids, myself and great-grandkids will know about Nelson Mandela. Because if we let it be written by the oppressor, okay, we either will never know about him because they didn't even want his picture, nobody talk about him, okay? So if we leave it up to Mandela's oppressors to write about him, we will never know. And this is the same thing they were trying to do with Harry and Meghan. Every time you turn on the tabloid, it's negativity, negativity, negativity. All right? And this is, I've said this many times and many times over. They wanted, when our great-grandkids are doing research about Harry and Meghan, all they will see are the negativity. Okay? This is the thing. I've said it from the start. When I started sharing my idea, my humble opinion with you, this was the goal of the tabloid. And many other things too. But one of the main thing is when our great-grandkids are searching about Harry and Meghan, they will know how horrible of a person they were. Okay? So it's to the Sussex squad. We say no. No. I have to give credit to Michelle and Tina. They saw it right out of the gate. Okay? The minute that Tina and Michelle saw it, they said, no, you're not going to do that to our sis. Okay? Shift the narrative. This is why they don't like the Sussex squad. We shed light to their stupidity. Okay? So it's through that they were trying to tarnish their name. Like I said, for many other things. One of the main thing is for history purposes, for people to know about them, how horrible they were. That was one of their goals. The other thing is for them not to be, that once they left the royal family, for them not to be able to get any job. So by tarnishing their name, smearing their name, no company will want to do work with them. Okay? And they wanted them to call back to the royal family so they could mistreat them, the things that they do best, to beg. Okay, they want Harry and Meghan to beg so they could put their feet over their head and say, beg, this kind of thing. So with our prayers, with Harry and Meghan's goodwill and power to, they're hard worker. Okay, they say, no, I'm not going to do that. Okay, and this is why they don't like them still. Even though they said they weren't going to talk about them. They were irrelevant. Right? But yet, they're still going at it to tarnish their name. And this is why Harry is suing them every time they say something stupid about them. Things that's not true. So he wants to set the record straight. Either you talk positive about us, not only positive, just tell the truth. That's it. They don't want anything special treatment. They just want the truth. That way, when I come across it or you come across it, You know this is the truth. So don't put your stupidity things in there, things that don't even exist, and tell people this is what they are doing. This is the reason why Harry, every now and then, he called them to court. And the reason he's calling them to court every time they do their stupidity, he learned. He's a freaking elephant. He remembers. When he went to that IPSO, I believe that's the organization, IPSO, and told them about the tabloid, what they were doing was wrong. What did IPSO say? He lost his bid. All right? They didn't see anything wrong with it. Harry said, yes, there is something wrong with that. They're not telling the truth. So now, every time the tabloid do something about, say something stupid about him, he goes straight to the court. And then you have people saying, oh, why he's always suing. He learned IPSO is not doing their job. Okay? These are the people who have friends of friends of friends at every post, at every base. So they could scratch their back, turn a blind eye when they're doing unjust. Okay? When the social contract is crossed. So those people and those positions, those bases, just turn a blind eye. So Harry can only rely on the court and say, this is what's going on. I need you to take a look at it because this is wrong. And many times over again, he wins. Okay, with the security, with lawsuit, him and his wife, okay, with the tabloid. They keep on telling the tabloid, just be fair. You don't need to glorify me or anything. Just be fair. That's all. Be that middle, the middle line. Whatever, the contributor or the spokesperson or whatever who delivered the message to the people. Just be fair. But they don't want to do that. So Harry said, I'm not playing this game with you. All right, so that's that. I went off, but okay.
Not just once a year.
Let me move it
Let's
back
talk
a
with
bit.
our children about what as a new generation comes of age. A generation that did not witness Mandela's leadership for themselves.
Witnesses.
Let's commit to remembering and celebrating his life and legacy every day,
That's right.
not just once a year. Let's talk with our children about what he stood for.
That's right.
Let's seek out what we have in common.
When he said, let's talk to our children about that, I remember like back in the days when you look at some stories, like in, I think some part of Africa do that, where stories pass on from generation. Oh, and some Asian culture too, not just Africa, some Asian cultures, they pass on stories from generation to generation. But the main thing is tell your children so they could understand from your perspective. And hopefully you tell them the truth. That way the memory continue. All right? Because if you leave it for other people, reason I said tell them the truth, because you have some people who distort the truth, who have a different vision for how society will be, and they tell the kids the wrong thing. All right, so that's that. Let's finish this.
Empower all people to reclaim our democracies and harness the light of Mandela's memory to illuminate the way forward. Because if we can summon our own courage just as he did, if we can see one another's humanity just as he did,
Yeah,
a better day will truly be on the horizon.
that's right. Respect and
Thank you.
understanding. Yep, he is right. He is right. Oh my God, I can't believe. So I don't think I'm gonna sit to that 15 minutes video to, well, maybe I just did the whole thing on this video because there was another clip at the beginning that shows the intro, and this is somewhat in the middle to the end. All right, let's read here. Okay, it's ironic that after all these years, an utterly privileged white person is the one invited to speak up for support, motivate Africans. But there were other people who spoke, not just Harry. There were other black people, other people. There's Greece. Is it Greece? Some other person from Greece, I think, who did a video for the Nelson Mandela thing. So, and let's not forget, okay? And many black people around the world, throughout the world, it seems like our skin color is a passport for mistreatment. It seems like. majority of black people on this earth, the kind of oppression they put on them to put unnecessary burden they put inflicted onto them so they could focus their attention on some man-made problem, so they don't focus on themselves. They give them a problem to focus on while the other group are enjoying life. Okay? But many of them, when you look at in society, you look at Muhammad Ali, Nelson Mandela, Malcolm X, who else? Martin Luther King. There's many of them. Despite the burden that they put on them, look at this. They took many of them. Some of those people that I mentioned, they took their life. Okay, they literally shut them off so they don't continue to inspire people. Okay, that's the whole point, to inspire people. They don't want that, so they're creating burden from unnecessary man-made burden to black people around the world, so the other group could enjoy what God has given them. So when this person is saying this here, there have been many. They just don't have the same platform as those who have the mic. Look at this. When on social media, majority of social media or radio, television, who's in control of those? Who's in control of those positions? Majority of. What are they contributing to society? What are they contributing? Negativity. So many of these people have control of all of this, but they're spewing, poisoning the mind. So there are many, I probably don't know a vast majority of them. Look at this, Dr. Shola. I never knew of her existence until I come across the squad who shares some of her videos, and then I watch her TED Talk and all of this. Okay? She's like a needle in a haystack in Britain. Okay? I call her the kryptonite of Piers Morgan, because there's so many others who's doing the fight. Each one of us, this is what I mean, many of us have our own little puzzle. She's doing her work in Britain and Nigeria. Where is she from? No, she's from Britain, but her ancestors, is it Nigeria or Kenya? I think it's Nigeria or something like that. All right. So she's doing her part. There are so many of great minds that are doing their part. When you look at like history or things like that, majority of time, to learn a good perspective of humbleness,